What's going on, everybody? The Island Rex TV back with another video, and this is not the typical way I normally do videos, but I'm just watching the game. I'm sitting here watching the Lakers versus the Pacers, and I just would like to discuss like what's going on with the Lakers and why they look so horrible right now and what they need to do in order to improve. The Lakers look horrible. It's no reason why T.J. Warren should have 18 points. I don't care how hot he is during this bubble, like, the NBA return and being in a bubble. I don't care how hot he is. There's no reason that he should have 18 points in the first quarter. That's unacceptable. And I felt like the Pacers, just a lot of teams in general, not just the Pacers, but a lot of teams are starting to understand that they have a better chance of defeating the Lakers if they trap Anthony Davis and force LeBron James into using his athleticism and forcing him to give up the ball. See, LeBron James, as much as fans want to say, oh, well, LeBron is conserving energy and he's, trying to save all his energy for the postseason, for the playoffs and things like that. My belief is that LeBron James is older and he can't get past players like he used to do. He has to rely on his athleticism. He doesn't have a lot of post moves. He's not as fast as he used to be. These guys are much younger, much faster, and that's why they're playing Taylor Horton Tucker a lot, because they want to bring some youth in the starting lineup. So, to me, a lot of these teams, if you study a lot of these teams, what they're doing is they're studying the Lakers, and they say, okay, well, if we trap Anthony Davis and we get the ball out of his hands, then that's going to force LeBron James to have to defeat us. And they're like, man, I like my chances if we can force LeBron James and, to run it into a clogged lane. That's going to cause a lot of turnovers. A lot of these passes being stolen, and it's going to help the team's chances of winning. So when you look at teams like the Clippers are studying. Even if you go back and watch, like I said, when you go back and watch the Clippers versus the Lakers, a lot of the players were in foul trouble. Paul George was in foul trouble. Let me make sure the camera record. Yeah. Paul George was in foul trouble. Kawhi Leonard. I think Shaman was in foul trouble. Patrick Beverley was in foul trouble. Zubac was in foul trouble. Joakim Noah was in foul trouble. You can't expect to have that outcome in every single game. So if the Lakers lose tonight, remind you this is pre-recorded. If the Lakers lose tonight, it's going to be absolutely unacceptable and ridiculous. And you are setting a bad tone. I don't care if this is like you're conserving energy and you're just waiting until the playoffs. I don't care. You got to still go out there and compete every single night. You're getting ready for the playoffs. This is when what people don't understand is this is not the Eastern Conference no more. So LeBron James can't just go out there and wait until the postseason and go into the Eastern Conference, because he knows that he's going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and get to the finals easily. It's not like that no more, because a lot of teams, they're stacked. I don't know if you guys just watched the game that I think it was the Nuggets versus the Utah Jazz. This game went at like double, triple overtime. These teams, if you look at the Mavericks, a lot of the AFC's teams, this is why you have people like Charles Barkley saying that they pick the Portland Trail Blazers to beat the Lakers in a 7-game series. And it's going to be hard for me personally. I think that the NBA is going to do whatever they can to get LeBron James and AD to the finals, because they know how much money they will make, and that's why the game went the way it went with the Clippers versus the Lakers. Especially with them being in all that foul trouble. If you make the game, if you tie the series, or you tied, the season, their meetings during the season, then that's going to leave fans with this theory or these thoughts that, okay, it's going to be an interesting series because they both tied it, when they went to each other, when they played each other during the regular season. You see what I'm saying? So it's marketing. All this stuff has to do with marketing and promotion as well, because the NBA is a business at the end of the day. But like I said, you look at the Clippers have an entirely more talented roster than the Lakers. They don't have Avery Bradley, which I said Avery Bradley. We should have stood with Avery Bradley. We just should have. We should have stood with Avery Bradley. When you stand with a player, that makes him want to play even more. And you had a lot of fans like, oh, well, we got to go ahead and play. We can't just wait on one player. Now you're seeing how much of an impact that Avery Bradley brought on both ends of the floor. You know? And like I said, when you look at these teams, they're like, okay, the Lakers don't have a great bench like that. So they're going to say, all right, Alex Caruso, you're going to have to step up. But you know that Alex Caruso not going to score more than 4 points. Right? Unless he's hot. Kyle Kuzma's inconsistent. If he's not hitting shots, he's been playing better defense. But come on now, like, you look at the Clippers roster, they got Shamet, they got Lou Williams, who is a prolific scorer. You know, he's a relentless scorer, can score from anywhere on the floor. He's just a little smaller. You see what I'm saying? So, what's going to have to happen is, hold on, let me finish. So, with the Clippers, they have all these multiple players that they can go to that could step up, that they could get involved, that's going to hit these shots. With the Lakers, they say, okay, well, LeBron James, we're going to force you into a clogged up lane. We're going to play a lot of one-on-one because there's no ball movement within the Lakers, offense. There's no ball movement. So we're going to force the ball out your hands. And if you pass to Dion Waiters, who could be streaky, J.R. Smith, who I said the Lakers should have never signed, he deserved another opportunity, of course, because why? Because he was wrongfully blamed in that finals. Of course, he made a mistake. But that wasn't a determining factor of the game. They still went to overtime. They still had a chance to close that game out. So J.R. Smith was wrongfully blamed. He deserved a second chance, just not with the Lakers once again. So the Clippers, they have all these, not just even the Clippers. You look at the Blazers. All these teams have a stacked bench. So they like, all right, we're going to force all these guys to take shots on the Lakers, and we're going to force LeBron James to have to shoulder the load. Right? He got to carry the team. I like my chances with him shouldering the load. There's no reason T.J. Warren and Kyle Lowry and all these players should be scoring 33 and scoring all these points. Right? Because these are not super elite level players. LeBron James should be stepping up and should be challenging these guys. Taking up their space. But in order for the Lakers to correct their issues, what I think is going to end up happening is, I don't know, I could be wrong, but most likely Frank Vogel will probably be fired and Jason Kidd will step up as the head coach. Now, I could be wrong about that. We'll just have to see. But just based off the patterns, I knew we was going to get to this position, and I knew we was going to get to this point. But like I said, I seen this pattern in this movie over and over again. Now, I don't know in terms of like Frank Vogel's contract and how that will work, and if they're able to fire him right now, which LeBron James has the power, he can fire anybody. Right? But Anthony Davis is running from the trap. He's running from these double teams. And he's panicking. As soon as he see them running towards him, he instantly just gives up the ball. He just panics. He panicked. Instead of stepping away from backing up out the double team. Instead of creating plays. There needs to be more flow within the offense. There needs to be more cutting to the basket. If Danny Green is not hitting shots. A lot of these players not hitting shots. So, but you got to find whoever's hitting those shots, you got to get them to open looks. You got to create plays for other players. Right? The Lakers Anthony Davis is our anchor defensively. So if Anthony Davis is removed, that's self-explanatory. It's self-explanatory. Right? But Anthony Davis and LeBron James has to step up, and somebody else has to step up as well. Now y'all see why I feel it's important for us to go after Bradley Beal. Because it takes more than that. That's if Anthony Davis stays. which I highly believe that Anthony Davis is going to leave because the media is putting all the blame on Anthony Davis. They're not blaming LeBron James. LeBron James has had low shooting percentages, but they're blaming Anthony Davis. And players see things like that, and that gets them frustrated. They don't like stuff like that. And Anthony Davis seems like he's really connected. He's really connected with Chicago. So he probably most likely fire Rich Paul and get a new agent and then go sign in Chicago. I mean, hopefully I'm wrong. Let's say I'm wrong because I would love for Anthony Davis to carry the torch later on, and then you could add talent around him post LeBron James. But like I said, if they could add not Avery Brad, I keep saying Avery Brad. If they could add Bradley Beal, that would make them a more elite team. And people be complaining about super teams, but super teams are necessary because times have totally changed. It makes them the villain. It makes people step up their competition and want to beat you. You know, I love super teams. Even when LeBron was in Miami, you know, Kevin Durant on the Warriors, I like that. People getting upset about Kevin Durant saying that he picked the Clippers to win the West, and then the Bucks to win the East. But my thing is, like I said, the Clippers, they like their chances of forcing LeBron James and the rest of the team to beat them because they can get the ball out of Anthony Davis' hand. You know, they're probably going to have to get Anthony Davis out of the post. You know, if Anthony Davis start hitting shots from outside the perimeter and they move the ball around and he start hitting these shots, he could then or get to the free throw line. They got to start getting him to the free throw line a little bit more because obviously he gets an advantage by being at that free throw line. It's just like with Lou Williams. You see typically Lou Williams, if his offense isn't going and he's not hitting shots, you see him drawing knick-knack calls, getting knick-knack calls, and, you know, trying to get your hand to crowd his space so he could create fouls and get to the free throw line, and then the basket will open up and open up and open up even more. You know, so he has to get to the free throw line a lot more. I'm speaking of Anthony Davis. And the rest of the team has to step up. They have to, because this is embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. And I was like, okay. And like I said, even with Markieff Morris, I had a subscriber like, oh, well, I think Markieff is better. You could think all you want, but the stats, the numbers prove otherwise. I don't think he's ever shot below 70-something%. He's an 80% free throw shooter. He just came off of 19 points, averaging 19 points for the New York Knicks. And when he's put in his spots, he's more aggressively defensively. You know? He's more aggressive defensively. He seems that he took more responsibility. But the Lakers, they have to step up and they have to be dogs. You know? And now y'all see why we needed perimeter defense. That's why I was stating we should go after a 3-and-D player at the deadline. That was vital because you see now how Robert Covington played. I said we should go after Robert Covington. And a deal with Marcus Morris, of course, y'all know Marcus Morris. I mean, Kuzma has better bright side, but Marcus Morris is the better player right now in his stage in his career. And you're trying to get to the finals. So you have to do whatever it takes to get there. Right? So, like I said, Marcus Morris, you could have got Wayne Ellington back. Wayne Ellington probably hitting more shots than Danny Green right now. Well, where he was. Right? It's many ways around things. You got to, take chances. And that's what the Clippers doing. And that's because Jerry West is over there. Jerry West is the greatest basketball mind. He has the greatest mind in basketball. Let me show y'all something. I just got my basketball card. And y'all probably seen me post this. I just got my basketball card. This is my Jerry West basketball card. Greatest mind in basketball. But anyway, the Lakers got to step it up. From everybody on the bench. If they lose tonight, it's going to be embarrassing. So, like I said, this is pre-game. I mean, not pre-game, but this is, during halftime. I'm doing this video. I've been watching the game. No reason why TJ Warren should be scoring all these points in the first half. No, I don't care how hot he's getting. He's not no superstar player. You shut that down early if you LeBron. You shut that down early. But like I said, AD needs to get to the free throw line a little bit more. They need to start getting AD outside, beyond the perimeter and get him some looks to where he could take these shots and get his offense going. Because they know if they slow down Anthony Davis and force the ball out of his hands, then it's going to have to force LeBron James to have to step up, and then it's going to force the rest of the team to have to hit these shots. And if they're not hitting these shots, which our we have one of the lowest 3-point percentages in the league, they have a good chance of winning. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jason Kidd is the next coach. I don't know. Like I said, we'll see who we play in the first round. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all get in that comment box, like, share, subscribe, I'm out.